In the 90s, there was this little TV show called Batman, the Animated Series, which was later rebooted as The New Batman Adventures in 1997. And in that animated series, there was a character formed in the mind of Paul Dini and the penis of Bruce Timm, and on the screen of televisions in the form of a soap opera called Days of Our Lives. That character was a sidekick to the Joker, who wasn't a midget clown nicknamed Gaggy. This character was a woman who was as crazy as her puddin'. Harley Quinn. She first appeared in the episode Joker's Favor, where a man cuts the Joker off in traffic, the Joker hunts him down and gathers his information, and then like 2 or 3 years later, the Joker gives him a call and makes him help him in a scheme. That includes Harley Quinn, played by Arlene Sorkin, wheeling in a giant cake, which the Joker will later jump out of, like a juggalo stripper, for a police banquet, in like a sexy police outfit, during a kid-friendly red wedding. So, released in 1994, written by Paul Dini and Bruce Timm, with art by Bruce Timm, this is Batman Mad Love. Fun fact, Kevin Smith and his wife named their daughter Harley Quinn Smith because of this book. You know, just in case you're ever in a Kevin Smith trivia contest or something, now you know that fun little factoid about the no longer fat weed fiend himself.
Hey man, I'm Kevin Smith and I'm working on this new show, Hollyweed.
I don't remember which podcast I heard that on, but I heard it all right. The book begins at the dentist. Jim Gordon nervously walks to the dentist office, saying to himself, mumble, mutter, mumble. Look, if it doesn't have the little asterisks on the beginning and the end of the words, I'm just gonna assume that they're literally saying those words. It's funnier that way. Why is he so worried, you ask, about going to the dentist? As he's like probably a 60-year-old man? I don't know, maybe all those years of smoking are horrible on his dentist bill. Maybe the cigars are full of crack and his teeth are really fucked up. Maybe he just doesn't like fingers in his mouth. I don't know, that's my favorite part about going. Anyway, he enters and... Wait a minute. I recognize that hair outline. That's the silhouette of the Joker! Also, I assume the Joker probably disguised his voice because someone's saying, "Have a seat, I'll be right with you." Would probably be pretty noticeable to a guy who has most likely spent most of his life around the Joker. Then someone shoots a rope grenade, binding Jim to the chair. The shooter is revealed to be Harley Quinn in like a sexy dentist/nurse outfit. Then, as the Joker is about to give Jim a lobotomy, Batman leaps through the window. The Joker says he's a little early, and Batman's like, "It was an easy hint, Joker. It's literally a pair of teeth." Then Harley appears behind him and shoots him with some sort of gas, causing the Cape Crusader to fall to the ground. Then Harley laughs and says, "A real gasser, huh, Mr. J?" Jesus. And Joker grabs her by her, jester hat and screams, "I give the punchlines around here. Got it?" I also love that, the sharp tail of the word balloon almost looks like a massive vein emerging from his forehead. Then they leave, and the Joker happily tosses a grenade on Gordon's crotch, but Batman grabs it and chucks it out the window, causing it to explode whatever was outside. Batman returns to the cave and is met by Alfred. Alfred gives Bruce some coffee as he types away on the Bat computer, and says it's getting harder now that Joker has someone to help him out. Bruce says, "In her own way, Alfred. Harley Quinn's as crazy as the Joker. Her playful exterior hides an obsessive and dangerous mind." Tragic, really? Perhaps. But even from the beginning, Harley Quinn was no angel. Flashback time! When Harley Quinzel was a teenager, she won a gymnastics scholarship to Gotham State University. But what she really wanted was a degree from the psychology department, so she slept with her professors to get good grades. Cut to Harley skipping around in a warehouse in a frilly red lingerie as Joker scribbles away at new mechanisms of humorous demise. Then she does the famous,
Ahem.
Go away, I'm busy.
Oh, come on, Puddin'. Don't you want to rev up your Harley? Vroom, vroom.
Joker shoves Harley off the table as she tries to entice him with a whoopee cushion. Then Joker screams at her for the stupid chattering teeth gag, and she apologizes to him as he walks away and tells her that she blew it, and that Batman was right. They are getting sloppy. Joker looks through his notes when Harley suggests, "Why don't they just shoot him?" And he says that just shooting him would be a waste of his comic genius. And then he shoots his flower lapel acid at Harley. Like, if she didn't duck, her face would have been dissolving and she would have been dead. Then he finds his old plans for the death of 100 smiles. Joker says it's perfect, and he's like,
Batman comes somewhere out of the way, then, when he least expects it, bang! Spring the hidden trapdoor. I love it.
causing Harley to flinch in fear. Something, I want a relationship like Joker and Harley Quinn, something. Then Joker remembers the hitch in the plan. Piranhas can't smile. Even his tests with his own Joker toxin didn't do the trick. He sulks on the stairs and Harley comes over and says that she knows how to make smiles. Joker drags her by the nose and kicks her out of the building into the dirt. Harley talks to herself and she admits that she is hopelessly in love with a murderous clown, but probably not in like the sanest possible way of accepting it and admitting it. Then she wonders how her life got like this. Basically naked, going off of her shadow, covered in mud with 2 hyenas as pets. And she thinks back in her life and realizes where it went wrong. Batman's the problem. He's always been the problem. He's the reason that she and the Joker can't be happy and in love together. And she screams as she projects herself onto the masked manhunter. Flashback time! Harley arrives on her first day at Arkham Asylum. She meets Dr. Joan Leland, who gives her a tour of the facility. Then we see the main reason Harley wants this job is for the glamour of the super criminals. Then she walks over to Joker's cell, and the Joker winks at her. Later that day, in her office, she finds a single red rose in a vase with a note that says, "Come down and see me sometime." Signed, Jay. Then she takes off her glasses and smells the rose deeply. Later, she heads down to the Joker's cell and asks how she found that note in her office. Joker says that he put it there, and Harley's like, "Oh, really? I think Dr. Leland and the guards would be interested in knowing how you got out." But Joker says that if she was really gonna tell him, she already would've. Then Joker says that he loves her name because when you just rework it a bit, it becomes Harley Quinn. You know, like Harlequin, and says that it's quite obvious that he'd be attracted to it. Basically, he loves the idea of Harley Quinn much more than Harley herself. I mean, it's perfect comedy that he's a clown and she's a Harlequin? Come on! Later, after 3 months of pleading to Dr. Leland, Harley finally has a one-on-one session with the Joker, who they just allow to be unbound and free to move around the room however he wants. Like, there's no one else in this room, seemingly, unless they're just fucking shifting around in the shadows. Harleen was told by the staff and the doctors at Arkham that Joker is a fiend who enjoys twisting the minds of people stupid enough to trust him. And Harleen's like, "Psh, I am aware of his tricks and I will not be taken by them." But when the Joker's opening line of the act is,
"You know, my father used to beat me pretty bad,"
he won the audience over immediately. Then he tells her his next set, making a lovely segue from his abusive father to the only time his daddy was ever happy. It was when the two took a trip to the circus when the Joker was 7. Joker recounts one particularly amusing moment of a clown who would be chased by a dog, and the routine caused his father to cry with laughter. Also, while incorporating some physical comedy into the act, it always gets the audience. Just ask Jim Carrey.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Feeling a little strange tonight, and I'm not sure why. No, I'm kidding you. That's just a little bit of a physical gag to get the show started off with a bang, and, well, you won't be seeing much more physical humor in my show. Oh, my God!
He even gets Harleen to begin to giggle as he says that he wanted to make his dad as happy as that clown. That sounds really weird. So the next night, when his dad got home from the bar, Joker walked out into the hall wearing his father's best Sunday slacks and says,
"Hey, Dad, look at me!"
Then his pants fall down on cue, and Harley begins laughing uncontrollably. Joker finds it so funny that he does a knee slapper on his bare leg as he joins in on the cackling. Harley laughs so hard she begins to cry, and then the Joker hits her with,
"And then he broke my nose for ripping his pants open."
Joker says he was in the hospital for 3 days after that, but hey, that's the downside of comedy. You'll always be taking shots from people who just don't get the joke. Like his dad. Or Batman. Then the Joker is wheeled out of the room as Harleen overlooks her single page of notes. Over the following weeks, Harleen learns more and more about the misunderstood, tortured soul just looking for acceptance, but whenever he does, Batman is always there, making Harleen's sweet little porcelain angel miserable. Then it's revealed that Harley has actually been the narrator of this story, retelling her story to an understanding listener. The Joker. Later, after the Joker has broken free and his body count continues to rise, Harley is alerted that he's been recaptured. She races through the crowds of doctors and nurses to find the Joker beaten senseless by the bleeding and battered Batman. Harley grabs the Joker as Batman lets go of his collar, falling to the floor with him as his body collapses, as she looks at Batman with absolute animosity. And Batman's really surprised by that. And Harley reaches desperately for her green, white, and red love as he's dragged away. Later that night, I guess, Harleen finds the Joker resting in his cell. So she leaves the asylum and speeds into town. She enters a late-night costume store, which, you know, now that I think about it, would be a pretty good business in a world with super people. Just like as long as you have, like, good security, I guess, you're probably gonna make bank. Anyway, she steals her famous red and black, skin-tight Harley Quinn costume and returns to Arkham as a new person. She whacks a guard in the back of the head with a rubber chicken she probably filled with like a brick or like a large rock, and tosses stink bombs throughout the asylum, and she finally reaches the Joker's cell and places a plastic explosive she made on the glass? What? Where did she do that? How did she know how to do that? It explodes and Harley Quinn emerges over the shards of glass. She helps the Joker escape as she kills, brutalizes, and just scares the workforce of Arkham. Finally, after reaching her car, the two make it out and drive into the sunset. All while the Joker laughs wildly. Harley has made the man she loves laugh like he never has before. And she did it all by dressing up like a clown and performing a simple routine. Back in the alley, Harley pets her hyenas and imagines a world where Batman is dead and has been mounted over the fireplace, and she and the Joker are married and have 2 little kids, kind of implying some sort of incest with the Harley-Joker dynamic. But that dream will never become a reality with Batman around. So Harley sneaks back inside and up the stairs, where she picks up the plans for 1,000 Smiles upside down. Later that night, Jim Gordon gives Batman a mysterious box addressed to him. They open it to find a VHS tape. They then set it in the player and find a recording of Harley Quinn pleading Batman to help her because the Joker has really gone off his nut this time and plans on just plain and simple genocide, I guess. She takes off her mask and says that she can help him stop the Joker, as long as she's promised protection. Then she tells him to meet her at the docks at midnight. So, at the docks at midnight, Harley stands beneath the single light post as Batman watches her, and the giant moon looms over them. Harley nervously looks around when Batman appears behind her. She hands him a briefcase full of the Joker's unused plans when a voice of the Joker shouts, "Traitor!" And the Joker rides in on like a little tiny boat as he fires upon the two. Batman leaps and protects Harley as he batarangs the Joker, which, if it weren't a robot, would have gone right into his fucking neck. Batman is then stabbed in the base of the skull by a syringe wielded by Harley Quinn, and he begins to fall unconscious. Hours later, Batman hangs upside down, the blood pooling in his head, over a tank of piranhas as Harley drinks a soda. Harley says it was all a ruse, and it's just the two of them. She says that she went through a hell of a lot of trouble trying to drag the 200+ pound grown man in a large cape and full suit into the building, and she hates fish. And she's like, "You better respect the amount of work I put into this, alright?" Then she shows him the plans for some reason as she explains the whole upside down thing, and Batman's like, "Brilliant." Harley says that it's like nothing personal, but she needs to move on with her life. Settle down with her sweetheart, you know? And then Batman's like, "You and the Joker?" And Harley nervously says that she's never heard him laugh like that before and asks him to stop. Batman tells her that the Joker doesn't love anything except maybe himself, and that he figured her for easy help the minute she walked into Arkham. Harley says that that's not true, that he told her secret things he never told anyone.
What did he tell you? The line about his abusive father, the alcoholic mom, the runaway orphan story is particularly moving.
Harley shouts at him to stop, but he continues and says,
What was it he told that one officer? Oh yes, There was only the one time I ever saw my dad really happy. He took me to the ice show when I was 7.
Then tears begin to flood up and over Harley's domino mask, and Batman says that Joker has a million stories, like any other comedian. Harley shouts that he's all wrong and that the Joker does love her. Then she grabs the chain and is about to lower Batman into the water when he says that the Joker will never believe she did it. I mean, how will he even know Batman is really gone when all people can find are scraps of bone and cloth? So, Harley nervously calls the Joker. In the warehouse, Joker continues to look over his plans when the phone rings and he's like, "What?"
Harley, where have you been? Yeah. Yep. Batman, eh? Well, you don't say. You have who? Tied up where?
Then the Joker races to his car and speeds through the city, thinking about how Harley will take all the credit from him for killing Batman, and how emasculated he'll be by that act. Back in the other warehouse, Harley says that the Joker was so thrilled that he could hardly speak. Then she fantasizes about their soon-to-be life together. Then Joker enters the room and shouts,
Harley!
Harley runs to hug him, but he backhands her away from him. Joker walks over to Batman and asks him to just give them one moment. Then he looms over Harley as she lies on the ground like a kicked puppy, and she skittishly says that she hung Batman upside down so that the fish look like they're smiling. Get it? Then the Joker rips the plans up and says that if you have to explain a joke, there is no joke. His jokes are elegant in their simplicity. You see them, and you get them. End of joke. Then the Joker slowly makes his way towards Harley as she grabs a swordfish off the wall to defend herself. The Joker grabs it from her hands and hits her with it like a baseball bat, causing Harley to smash through a window and fall 5 stories into an alley. Meanwhile, Gordon, Montoya, and Bullock drive in a cruiser looking for Joker's car when they see a red figure fall into an alley. Montoya runs into it and finds Harleen Quinzel lying on the concrete and trash that broke her fall as her blood pools together with the rainwater and garbage. And Montoya tells Harley not to move, and Harley sheepishly says,
My fault. I didn't get the joke.
Gordon and Bullock race up the stairs, guns drawn, as Joker lets the Batman down and apologizes. He then leaves Batman chained up, and as he walks away, he's like, then again, this really doesn't happen very often. So, the Joker grabs Batman and brings out a gun to shoot him point blank, but Batman knees his hand, causing the Joker to shoot the fish tank. Water and piranhas flood the room as Batman leaps for his utility belt and grabs it with his teeth, and Gordon and Bullock reach the top story as they catch the Joker escaping the room. Then he races to the roof as Batman sprints past the police officers. Batman reaches the roof as the Joker runs to the edge and leaps off, somehow catching this handrail. But then the handrail snaps, and the Joker falls. Nah, just kidding, he just landed on a passing train. As he's taunting them, a voice behind him says,
She almost had me, you know. I was completely constrained. I knew your massive ego would never allow anyone the honor of killing me. Though I have to admit, she came a lot closer than you, Puddin'.
The Joker lunges at Batman full of hate and unbridled rage, and starts strangling him as he gets ear-clapped by the Caped Crusader. They fight on top of the train until the Joker brandishes a switchblade, and like the psycho he is, the Joker holds the knife aloft in his hand as he races towards Batman. But he's uppercutted by the Dark Knight, sending him off the train and into a passing-by smokestack. A few days later, with the Joker presumed dead, Harley is wheeled to her cell in Arkham as she promises herself there will no longer be any obsession, any craziness, or any Joker, and that she finally has seen who he really is. Now all she has to do is serve her time peacefully and get out and have a normal life. Maybe she'll hang out with that redhead a few cells down. Then Dr. Leland appears and asks Harley how it feels to be so dependent on one man that she'd give away everything with nothing in return. And she looks over to the nightstand and sees a single red rose in a glass vase with a card that reads, "Feel better soon, signed Jay." And Harley says,
It felt like a kiss.
I hope you enjoyed this week's episode, although it may be on the shorter side. If not, just cut this part out, future me. Let me know what you thought about this book in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, leave a like and subscribe for more comic-related videos every other Monday. I'll see you next time.